Immanuel, God is with us. God is with us today. Immanuel.
Hello again. Welcome to number 4 in our series of short videos about the book of Isaiah. Number 4 is Isaiah the Impact.
Immanuel, God is with us. God is with us today.
We're going to look at the impact that Isaiah's words had on the people of his day and further down the line. All prophecy was speaking out the word of God. There may have been predictions about the future, but prediction isn't the main emphasis of biblical prophecy. The emphasis is on speaking God's words into the situation as they knew it. So there was an immediate impact of Isaiah's words. In our first video, we looked at where and when and who and why. In the when, we know that Isaiah wrote during the 8th century BC. And here are the kings of his day. Isaiah, good king. His ministry started in the year that he died. Jotham, good king, 16 years. Ahaz, bad king, another 16 years. Hezekiah, good king, for the rest of Isaiah's ministry. And here we have asterisks which show crises that occurred during this time. And Isaiah speaks into those and had an immediate impact. This asterisk during the reign of Ahaz, Assyria attacking from the north. Remember, they couldn't come across from the east through the desert. They came down from the north to the land bridge where Judah was. Big crisis. Isaiah says in that time, if you do not stand by your faith, you will not stand at all. And the impact of that was that Ahaz listened and the people were encouraged at that crisis time. We don't know the full historical story, but we know that it did have an impact. Later on, another asterisk here marks the crisis when Hezekiah was king. Assyria attacking, King Sennacherib coming again from the north. Hezekiah in a real panic. He goes into the temple. At least he turns to God and he lays out the letter to the Lord and says, what do I do with this threat from Assyria? He calls on Isaiah, and Isaiah is the one who speaks hope into the situation. He says, they will not enter Jerusalem. Not a single arrow will be fired in the city. And Hezekiah can't believe it. Everyone thinks, what is Isaiah saying? But Isaiah is proved right. The Assyrian army get up the next morning, and the angel of the Lord has struck. 185,000 of them are slaughtered. And Sennacherib returns to Assyria with the tail between his legs, and he's assassinated by his own family over there. Isaiah had an impact of encouragement, exaltation, do not fear, and the people believed it. That is the immediate impact that we see, and many other things he writes had an impact on his day of turning people back to God. There is also an imminent, what I've called an imminent impact. There's an imminent threat, but it's hanging there in the air and it doesn't take place just yet. What I mean by this is Isaiah is warning. We had exaltation there, now we have warning. He is warning that something will happen. There will be disaster if the people don't change their ways. God's hand is ready to fall with the axe, but his hand is stayed. We hear that phrase. But in time, the axe did fall. 120 years later, the people of Judah follow their brothers from Israel into exile, now into Babylon, which is the ruling empire of the day. They have to go into exile because God cannot stand their sin any more. And that imminent threat is fulfilled. It's there in the book and fulfilled. Isaiah wouldn't have known how it would be fulfilled, and he didn't live to see it. But in his words, we read about the imminent impact that will happen. Then we have Immanuel. It goes nicely. I. Immanuel is the heart of the whole prophecy of Isaiah. We saw that in our second video with Isaiah, God is with us, in the middle, with Yahweh, Messiah, Spirit, and man below. Immanuel. And this, of course, comes in chapter 7. The Lord will give you a sign. The virgin will be with child and will give birth to a son, and they will call him Immanuel, which means God with us. Isaiah himself would have had no idea how this would be fulfilled. Immediately later, in the event, 700 years later, that Matthew picks up on this verse and says, now it has been fulfilled. He looks at the story of Jesus born in Bethlehem and relates Joseph and Mary and then the Magi coming. And he says all this took place to fulfill what the Lord has said through the prophet, that the virgin will be with child and give birth to a son, and they will call him Immanuel. What an amazing thing. God with us. And that happened here. 4 BC, the historians reckon, Jesus was born in Bethlehem. That impact of his words took place all those years later. And we have the New Testament echoing the words of Isaiah. And of course, here we have the cross with Jesus, representing Jesus dying and rising again for us in fulfillment of the scriptures. Now, Isaiah is quoted in the New Testament about 72 times. I've counted it myself and I came up with the figure 72. Of course, I may not have got that quite right, but that is incredible. All the other prophets put together, Ezekiel and Daniel and Hosea and Amos, Jeremiah, add them all together, they don't come anywhere near 72. Jeremiah has about 11 or 12 direct quotations. Isaiah has 72. Only the book of Psalms has more quotes from the book of Isaiah at around 80. And that is remarkable, quite apart from the allusions and the hints about what happened in Isaiah. So Isaiah is essential to the understanding of the New Testament. Jesus himself quotes Isaiah. I can't remember now, it's something like 14 or 15 times, direct words on the lips of Jesus from Isaiah. And I'd just like to finish with one more impact, because the impact is still being felt today from this remarkable book in the Old Testament. But John picked up a particular verse. He quotes that the commission of Isaiah in chapter 6. They will be ever seeing but not understanding, ever perceiving but not hearing, and so on. Otherwise they would turn and the Lord would heal them. John says Isaiah said that because he saw Jesus' glory and spoke about him. Isaiah spoke about Jesus, although obviously he didn't know the name Jesus. He called him Immanuel, God with us. Isaiah saw something that John picked up on. This is the fulfillment. This is the final impact from Isaiah's words in his day, in John's day, that God came into the world. Now I hope there'll be an impact on your own life as well as you look into Isaiah a little bit more, inspired by the insights that I've shared, inspired by the images that I shared. Remember those 30 pictures and the 4 particular strong ones in the book of Isaiah to excite you and fill you with amazement at what this book is saying to us today. I want to leave you with my little poem about Isaiah. Lift your eyes higher to the wonders in Isaiah. Let your heart be stirred by the power of this word. Encourage you to listen to the songs that I composed, 16. They're on the website when you're doing the ironing or driving along in the car or with your headphones on there, because they will remind you about many of those pictures in Isaiah, about those key insights of Isaiah. And I hope that you too grow to love this amazing book of prophecy which is in the Bible.
Immanuel.